This whole island's like a broken record, skipping endlessly on one fulfilling day.
Everybody chose to be here, Colt.
Blood on the mind, life on ice, call it paradise.
Has anyone noticed how 2021 had a massive amount of games where looping was a central focus? 12 Minutes, The Forgotten City, Loop Hero, Returnal, and the subject of today's review, Deathloop. With so many options to that premise, what makes Deathloop a Game of the Year award nominee? And does it deliver on its promise to give us a truly fascinating experience? Let's find out. You play as Colt, a man stuck on an island in a time loop. If he dies or reaches the end of the day, he ends up resetting and waking up on the same beach each morning. As if this isn't bad enough, he has no recollection of who he is or why he is stuck in this loop. He does seem to be able to keep his memories from each loop, unlike the other residents, but so does Juliana, a mysterious woman who will stop at nothing to keep Cole from breaking the loop that she finds so enjoyable. While the setup is very fascinating, and I do love the revelations found along the way, the ending is really the biggest letdown. You have 3 different options to choose from in terms of how you want to end the game, and they all basically play out the same way, which leaves its finale a very weak point. Ending is paramount, and this is a really good example of that. The gameplay, however, is really fun. Not only are the guns very satisfying to use, but the powers that you collect along the way also create new ways to engage in combat. The highlight is when another player infiltrates your game as Juliana. While you can turn the online mode off and just have an NPC take control of her, the tension that fills the air when an actual person is in control makes it worth it. These were some of my favorite moments, going head to head with someone else to see who would come out on top. Granted, if you are at the end of your run and a character playing Juliana comes in and kills you, it's gonna piss you off. But I still like that tension and still think it's well worth the risk. I also really like the banter between Cole and Juliana. I will mention that Juliana does get on my nerve at points, but the interaction between the two leads is just so fascinating that I ended up liking it more than I didn't, so it all really balances out. It also really helps that Cole is a very likable protagonist and you want to see him get out of this situation. People you need to take down, however, don't feel as impactful. While you can definitely read logs and listen to audio recordings to find out who these people are, most of the time I was more focused on just getting to my next objective, so their presence really didn't carry much weight. Less so if I got infiltrated when checking out these things. I really wish there had been more of an interaction with these bad guys while you're actually playing the game, rather than just hearing or reading about their past. It definitely would have made more of an impact and made you want to go after those targets even more. You can also jump into the game as Juliana and infiltrate people playing as Cole, and while it's a little bit of fun, there's just not as much tension in that mode as there is when you're playing as Cole, so the fun really quickly wears out. The big highlight is definitely towards the end of the game when you finally get all the powers at your disposal and you're able to rank them up high enough to really go crazy. It's a game that the more you play and the more you level up the abilities, the funner it gets. I just really wish the ending had given us a better payoff. My ultimate score for Deathloop is a 3.5 out of 5, with a recommendation to rent it. If it had just nailed its ending, I could have easily moved the score up enough to give it a solid recommendation. As it stands, it's not essential to play, but you won't be bored by it either. And that's my first review. Not a bad one, but here's hoping that tomorrow's run ends up much more successful. Until then, everybody, stay safe out there and have a good one.